Blazing screens, chaos unfolds, crimson law, tales retold, anime wars, blades collide, justice screams, nowhere to hide. Crimson law, judgment reigns, shock critique, breaking chains, blood red ink by the blade, true release for silverhead, elven face. Elven face. Neon skies, warriors clash, pixel world, honor smash, battle cries, vengeance near, crimson's wrath, all shall fear. Thunder roars, the verdict grim, myths explode, lights grow dim, bloodlines torn, broken dreams, crimson law, silencing screams. As heroes fall and villains rise, shattered dreams and severed ties, stand and fight, the time is nigh, rising up to do what's right. Crimson law, judgment reigns, shock critique, breaking chains, blood red ink by the blade, truth unleashed for silverhead, elven base.
Good evening, everyone. How are we doing tonight? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to, I guess we could officially call this season 2 of Animated, and we are going full swing into a new season of anime to start talking about today. So hopefully we'll have some fun stuff to talk about. I didn't get to watch everything that came out over these past couple days, but it is what it is. We'll get into plenty of stuff tonight. Anyway, how you doing, guys? Jeremy Turner. Yes, new intro. Finally finished it. And that's part of the reason why I didn't upload anything this week. That was a little bit of like what I was working on. Muffler Tape, how you doing? I was talking to you earlier, just getting in here before Crimson slanders anything I like from this new season. Oh boy, I got some things to say. And of course, Marcel, how are you doing? It's been a week. So back to work this week. And the shock of being thrown back into the deep end basically just left me unwilling to do much. I probably could have pushed myself to like get out a couple of videos or something this week, but it just didn't happen. I found myself exceedingly exhausted and unable to put in any like acceptable effort into any creative thing outside of the intro, which I got done for the most part. I was considering dubbing the lyrics and everything, but then I realized that might just make the file too big to put in here. So yeah. But we finally finished up a couple. So before we start tonight, like on the new stuff, I do want to comment pretty lightly on Sword of the Demon Hunter and the Silent Witch, because those two have officially wrapped up as of this week, and I'm still wondering why they skipped this last week with the with Witch Watch. It would have been nice to just finish everything up, but hey. Hopefully getting a couple of videos out can get that off the list. Gachiakuta, I need to just save for another time. So I can actually go down here. Oops. And that didn't bold. Okay. There, bold. Anything else in here that I need to get rid of? Nope, all of these just need videos made on them, except for Witch Watch. Like that. Anyway, that's it. As for manga, I guess that's a better place to start. As for manga, the things I have read this week are I caught all the way up on My Dress Up Darling. I got all the way through the Haniel uh, cosplay, and that whole thing was fantastic. Volume 13 of My Dress Up Darling had like 5 double page spreads within like an entire arc. It was great. So I finished that up. What else did I get to? Let's see here. Chojin X. That's the big one, the new one. Chojin X. Because Muffler Tape has been harassing me over this one for quite a while. And I happened to pick up a couple of full volumes at Barnes and Nobles while I was there, like 2 weeks ago. So I finally got to reading it. I am mostly through the second volume. I still have to complete it, but it's a good series. Maybe a slow burn, but so far I like the art style. When it comes to like art in manga and anime, I like it when a series has like I guess the word I always resort to is rough, but I don't know if that's what I should be using. It looks hand drawn. It doesn't look machined. It's not pristine. It's not perfect. I think I like that kind of thing because specifically it feels handmade. It feels like someone actually made that. So with Ishida's style in this, the way he draws everything, that's the way it looks. It's not like a pristine thing, and I enjoy that kind of thing in art. He also has his own unique style for a couple of things. I mean, cool series. I like the powers, the whole concept of it. But it's really only just starting out, so I don't really know how to judge the whole thing yet. And then, of course, interviews with Monster Girls, which has been better than I expected, honestly. Like for a slice of life series, it's a really good one. I've thoroughly enjoyed reading that, and I think it benefits from just being able to be binged since the series is over, I believe. Apologies. So yeah, Chojin X, I like it so far. Not my favorite thing, but I like it. I'm gonna keep reading it, and perhaps I'll get deeper into it. But that does bring us to what I was talking about with finales. We got Sword of the Demon Hunter, which came full circle, and same with Silent Witch, kind of. So, not to do too much spoilers for Sword of the Demon Hunter, but we basically get a loop back around to the first episode, kind of. And it ties a couple of characters together in this last episode with the Doroyaki girl, who was like um really attached to Genya when he left Kadono, showing back up in the final episode. So like we get her connection to the shrine and the continuation of the Hime, so on and so forth. It was a good episode, a really nice way to sort of end everything, and a bit of a reflection on like immortality and living a long time. It makes me feel like they were hoping to get a season 2, but they may not get a season 2. So yeah. Um but with that said, let's talk a little bit about the Silent Witch. I liked this one, like all the way through. Like same with sort of the Demon Hunter, but Silent Witch I felt like had a particularly good ending. Um with how they like, brought everything about, especially with the book. I thought that point was like a really moving moment. Monica finding her father's book at the store, and then of course the prince doing or going and paying for the book, the exorbitant amount of money that Monica didn't have on her at the time. And then he goes into his whole thing about how he's this huge fan of the Silent Witch and all that. So, oh, plus the animation for that last battle, I thought was fairly good. Um, If we were sorry, reading comments. I'll get to your comment in a bit, Marcel. In terms of animation, like obviously you have things where um like stuff like Demon Slayer and Solo Leveling, Frieren, those kinds of shows that just have like absolutely astounding animation. Then you have like other tiers below that. I feel like not one but two tiers below that you have stuff like the Silent Witch, which is very competently put together in terms of animation, but you can still see like the studio isn't like, I guess, a top dog in the industry, but they have talent behind what they're doing. So with the Silent Witch, it was interesting to see that when it comes to actual combat, their team puts in effort, and that's what I like to see. They're at least trying. When it comes to things like sort of the Demon Hunter, you can tell that they were really, really struggling. So whether or not they were trying is unclear. But storytelling, animation, sort of the Demon Hunter, really good. And if you guys aren't familiar with Hitsuji Bungaku, their music, I generally really like. They did the intro and outro for this season of The Silent Witch, which I'm hoping gets a season 2 because it deserves it. And they also did the outro to Oshinoko season 2, Burning. I think they're a pretty good band from everything that I've heard so far. And now to comments. Yeah, Demon Hunter ending was all right, but I feel like it kind of fell off a little in the last quarter. Enjoyed it more before. Perhaps, yeah, perhaps. I enjoyed it all the way through, but it did feel like it was doing better in like the first half of the show to me than in the second half. I still think it's a solid thing altogether. It just its production issues sort of show in the latter half, and that kind of like drags on the experience to me. And the storytelling is a little bit slower in the second half. It feels like it's much less focused on action and like hunting demons in the second half, and more so focused on Genya and his life. But that's kind of the point of the show, is like his evolution across it. So there's that. Summed up, I'll be going out to buy the Silent Witch to see what happens next, and sort of the Demon Hunter I'm hoping gets a season 2, but not running out of manga / light novels. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to get into like sort of the Demon Hunter and Silent Witch for like source material, because I do feel invested enough to want to know what happens. Silent Witch animation was pretty good, and the book from her father was really nice. I liked that. Also, a bit more of romance bits from Monica and the Prince. It feels believable, not a forced romance. And the thing is, like, they've kind of been like hinting at that sort of development across this whole season. I feel like that's why it is believable, why it's like a good romance, is because they've been building on that for a while. You get these little moments and stuff that just like sort of like happen there, where it shows the Prince and doing things for Monica and her reaction to them. Of course, we cannot forget that this episode gave us plenty of great Monica noises. They're setting up a love triangle, Crimson. Oh, God. Now, believe it or not, there are some love triangles I will actually tolerate. It's just most of them I find infuriating. Like, when it comes to love triangles, like, there's one in Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. That technically counts as a love triangle in one of those arcs, because it is a dude who's in love with a chick and a chick who's in love with the dude. You have multiple romantic connections there. But I like the way they did that, because it was very clear that he was going to end up with, Mai Sakurajima. and also that he was just, trying to help this chick out, and they resolve that whole thing and move on amicably. Hell, technically, even Toradora is like a love triangle, although I think it devolves into a square at some point because there's a lot of weird stuff going on there. Toradora is a mess sometimes, but I love it nonetheless. So I can handle love triangles. I just, in most cases, I think they are an inferior trope. Like, most cases, they exist to inject drama into the series just because it can. And they're not done in an interesting way, like with Bunny Girl Senpai. You actually had a plot reason for Bunny Girl Senpai to include that kind of a thing. With that said, move on to talking about the new anime, because I have been trying to buy time because, like I said, I didn't get to all of them, so I don't know how long I'm going to be able to run tonight. But I mean, some of these shows, some of the shows last season had me running for a long time. It's dumb, but I think it works best when there's one girl and two dudes, maybe more believable. Perhaps. I like it most when there's like a legitimate plot reason for that kind of thing to happen. Technically, you could count, Ranma's romantic things as like weird, but Ranma sells itself on just being a clustercluck of romantic tension. Anyway. So here we are for fall anime. And of course, these are the ones that we had last week. And of course, and I do need to make one correction to this list before we start. And that is the fact that Gachi Akuta is still airing this season. I was under the impression, for whatever reason, as ill-informed as it was, that it was going to be like a split cour or anything. But no, it looks like they're going to be airing the next episode tomorrow. So this is going to continue on into fall. So Gachi Akuta is right now, the number one spot for the season. Who knows how long that will fucking last? Because there are some interesting ones that have like come out of left field a little bit. Not really, because I've been watching been watching a lot of things. All anime. Except all anime. There we go. Bring that up. And I'm lagging here. Kind of lagging. Sorry, guys. Much less into Gachi Akuta after the MC beat the crap out of a sexy yandere. I don't give a shit. Amo kind of deserved it. She fucking deserved it, officer. That's why I beat my spouse. I feel like that's just, so I... Not for long with Two Perfect Boxing Queen on her way up. That's what it sounds like. Anyway. So, let's talk about some of the ones that I don't have anything to say about Gachi Akuta because I feel like I've already talked about the episode that aired. I feel like, I enjoyed it because I thought there was a really good moment with like Rudo and Engine after all that happens, where like Rudo is like, I lost control and I shouldn't have done that. And what I did was kind of fucked up. I thought it was a really good like student mentor moment between the two of them. That was the part I really liked about the episode, is just, again, this shows Rudo's ability to, objectively analyze himself. But we're getting a little bit deeper into the lore of Gachi Akuta with this one. So that's all I have to say about that. I really like the series. I have fully enjoyed it. But the first one on the list to talk about in depth is Classless Hero. And I look, I don't care what Muffler Tape says about this. The show is mid. It is mid. So we'll do a little bit more of a like in-depth thing because I don't think I did a very good job of talking about these shows last week when I put them on here. So episode 1, you basically we'll get to the boxing queen, okay? She'll show up here. Anyway, so with Classless Hero, the dialogue for most of this is just so. This is the one thing that like really annoys me about it is the dialogue feels so generic and tactless in most of the exchanges that I'm just like put off by it. That's pretty much the big thing with it. Like it doesn't come across as creative or the characters having like their own good personalities. They all feel like copy pastes of something else. So in the first episode, we basically get this generic world set up where like everyone has to go in and be assigned a class, and your class determines how good you are at certain things, and you get skills and all that. Great. You know where I saw that? Fruits Master. And before that, a lot of other places. This is a pretty common trope. And again, I am not opposed to using tropes or having things in common with other series. I just like it when they do something creative. But with this show, I don't care for the characters. I don't feel like they do anything to set them up as interesting. You have the red-haired kid who was very obviously a girl from the onset. Like, I feel like that should have been seen coming a mile away. Classless is Fruit Master with fewer steps. And I keep hearing someone, I won't name names, Muffler Tape, say the animation was good. It was not. The animation was okay for part of the show. When it comes to shows like these, you usually get the best animation at the beginning or at the end of the show. And if this is what they have to showcase for the animation, not impressed. So basically, to talk a little bit of like premise, kid goes in, gets declared classless. So, in order to, beat all of the loser allegations, he just works his ass off and learns how to do all of the skills just by himself. So he just learns to do all this ridiculous stuff through training, which I respect. Rock Lee is one of my favorite Naruto characters for a very similar reason. It's because dude just like decides he's going to lock in and work hard, even though he can only throw punches and kicks. And because of that, he kicks ass. I'm not impressed with this show. It is okay. You get very generic city, very generic designs, very generic art style. Again, generic looking character. There's nothing in here that like stands out to me. It is meh. Second episode rolls around. They've basically done a time skip, which I kind of appreciate because I don't think I really would have cared for a like a training montage in this. They just sort of skip ahead to when main character is an adult, and they send him off to go join a guild in a sword city. He gets rejected from all guilds, predictably, and ends up with the one girl who tried to recruit him at first because that was the guild that his mother recommended. And that's where he has his run in with his old childhood friend, the chick he was training against. And that's when he finds out that she was a girl. And they have their whole rematch and everything, and he's just like, you hit hard, but I move fast. And overall, like, I said I was going to be very critical this season. Like, I was going to be brutal this time around. So, like, I don't particularly find a reason to want to watch The Hero Without a Class. So if it doesn't have like a dramatic change in this next episode with this like tournament thing that's happening, I'm not particularly going to be looking to keep watching this one. This one's going to be a drop if this whole tournament thing isn't worthwhile. Because being better than Fruits Master or Fruit Master is not a high bar to clear. Is that pretentious? Fuck yeah. That is a pretentious as fuck review of The Hero Without a Class. Absolutely. I will own that allegation. Slanderous? Possibly. But that's how I feel about it. I just don't get it. It's not a show that I sit down and be like, oh wow, I'm looking forward to watching this. It's just one that's like, okay. If you guys like it, no problem with that. Like, I don't care. There are a lot of things that people like that I don't. But this is, my show. I'm here to give my opinion. And if you guys want to take that and decide based on that whether you do or don't want to watch a series, well, I appreciate that you would respect my opinion that much. But this and Finger Diddle Sister are on high dive, so I'll probably watch both in a sitting. Well, that's kind of funny because we're gonna talk about the dusk at the after the end of the world. And this, so of these two, my opinion has remained the same on this. And last week I said, okay, whatever, episode 0 was kind of fucking, yeah. They do this whole setup of like this dude, this kid lost his family. He gets adopted into like their friend's family, and he grows up with this chick that he falls in love with, and she falls in love with him too. There's a scene where she's masturbating to the idea of him. It's pretty blatant. And then they basically decide that they're going to, get married, and they're gonna try and skirt around all of the companies that are trying to, shut them down and stop them from competing. The episode ends basically. They do all of this to set up our main character getting turned into Swiss cheese to save his fiance. And then he wakes up in the apocalypse. And thus you have dusk after the end of the world. And if I had a nickel for every time we had a robot girl at the end of the world with a laser cannon for an arm, I'd have in this season, I'd have 2 nickels. Which is not a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Sorry, I love that joke, and I'm going to overuse the shit out of it. You're just gonna have to get used to it. But yeah, this is how my opinion of Dusk after the end of the world has changed radically, given everything that's happened. Now, this is likely to come back down because I'm probably just riding the high of some of like the good things that happened at the end of episode 1 here. But there's some interesting stuff that goes on. So to recap episode 1, because episode 0 happened last week. It's weird how that goes. So with episode 1, our main character wakes up and is introduced to some of the locals who basically had worshipped him as a god for who knows how long. And he finds out that the world is run by an organization called OWL. And they like strictly monitor information and ancient artifacts, and he counts as an ancient artifact. So that gets him immediately tangled up in OWL's bullshit. So he spends a couple of days, living among the villagers, having a good time, and then someone decides to rat him out. OL comes to find him, and then a dude gets shot because some jackass decided that he was going to, rat on the new guy. And a little girl gets abducted. So, in typical, tyrant fashion, big bad evil guy for the episode decides he's going to go execute the villagers and kill them all, make sure nobody knows. And that's when robot finger bang girl shows up and fucks everything up. And the animation for this would be like, so tier 1, like I said, would be like Demon Slayer, solo leveling, free run. That kind of stuff is like tier 1 animation. Tier 2, I would put this maybe at the bottom of tier 2 because I really liked how they did all this. Plus, I'm a fan of when shows aren't afraid to display blood and gore. And in this, this chick is slicing people into little cubes. It looked good. I thought it was a really good fight scene at the end of the episode. The slice of life stuff and our main character not being completely useless and actually knowing how to fix stuff and work with machines and all that. I like that part. The part that got a fucking laugh out of me, though, was the atomic bomb versus coughing baby moment. So in all of this, hello, JM, how you doing? In all of this, we get a moment where the big bad guy gets out a minigun and starts shooting at Robot Girl. And in the midst of that, she decides, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck you. And fuck the mountain behind you. And this is a guy she easily could have just rushed and cut to pieces. But no. She vaporized him and the mountain 5 kilometers behind him. She full on just said, screw it, unleash the sun. And that part alone was just hilarious to me. But I think this one, other than that, I think this one has, at the very least, improved my impression of this. I feel like this is going to be on the lower end of the very good spectrum at the very best. But I've enjoyed the storytelling so far. I feel like it takes a more serious turn to things. It's got some interesting stuff. I feel like it probably could be a little bit slower paced. I feel like it's kind of introduced the big bad villain very quickly. And that kind of makes them lose some of their menace. But then again, we really haven't seen the full extent of what they can do. We've seen just what this one dude with a wrist-mounted pistol can do. This one, surprisingly, has potential. It went from a chick fingering herself to the idea of her adopted brother to said chick obliterating a man and the mountain behind him. What more can I say? I love it. Okay. And that brings us, of course, to a wild last boss appears. Wild last boss appears. And I'm enjoying this show. I still think it rides in the interesting category, but I expected it to drop after episode 1. I expected this one to be a harsh fall off. But no, I think it held a solid position. We get a little bit of an end to this whole orc hunt thing, and we see some of the game overlap stuff that's happening. We also get the intro in this episode, and I kind of like the intro. Maybe we'll check that out later, closer to the end of the stream. But in this episode, we get some how do I put this? So they wrap up the whole orc thing. They do a good job of getting a happy resolution to all that and showing that Lufus is like a decent person. I was trying to remember her name. It's funny watching our main character stomp the absolute shit out of her flunky's foot every time. I got a kick out of that both times. So they've made their way to a city governed by one of the legendary heroes. Gonna be rough watching a hottie MC who's a dude on the inside. Okay. Anyway. So this is where we find out a little bit more about the world, and I kind of like what they're doing. I feel like maybe there are some improvements that could have been made, although I don't know what those would be off the top of my head. But it's competent world building. And we've been given this idea that like a lot of the continent is basically unoccupied by humans. They've been pushed by like humanoid species, and they've been pushed into this little section, and they are absolutely desperate for power. And that's why Lufus got summoned to this world. So there's an interesting thing. We have, a bit of the tale of how the heroes failed to stop the Demon King and all of that, and we now have this whole thing with the elven mage who is sitting as king of this city, who uses this massive lake-sized golem to protect it from Ares the ram, who actually just looks like what is the sheep Pokemon from Sword and Shield? Wooloo. It looks like a giant Wooloo. That's what it looks like. Ares looks like a giant Wooloo, which is hilarious to me. Because you would think that a creature named Ares would be like this threatening, like, ram or something like that. No, this is just a giant fucking puffball of wool. So an interesting series, but ultimately still kind of does fall into the Diet Overlord category for me. And I hate to say that because this one is competent. It's fairly well put together as compared to other Overlord clones. But it still is in the same genre because it does a lot of the same things and thus will fall into Overlord's shadow. And I don't think you can beat Overlord at its own game. I gotta go watch the next episode. Do we know how many episodes this is getting? Has potential to be a really big, long story. Let's see what we've got here. So, a wild last boss appears, does not seem to have an episode cap announced. So maybe we will save going over the intro for later. But for now, I didn't do that. I meant to do this. We'll do the intro. Okay. That brings us up to date with everything we have already watched. Okay. So where do we go from here? How do we disappear? Sorry. Good old Cutlass reference there. I believe that's Cutlass. Hypnotized is the name of the song. Yano-kun's Ordinary Days. That is the first one on the list. And I rather enjoyed this show. I think it's an interesting watch. As a slice of life. And effectively the premise is that the main character is exceedingly, or not the main character, the titular character, Yano. He is exceedingly clumsy and constantly getting himself injured. And our main character is the class representative, a girl who takes a massive interest in, trying to make sure that Yano-kun isn't being bullied, that he is not in any having any problems. So she tails him and she finds out he's just clumsy. And all of the injuries that he gets are just from minor accidents that happened to him. And of course, we do have the thing of him sort of like shutting himself off to other people because he's afraid that he'll get them involved in his bad luck. So it's a nice, like, cute little story involving a very clumsy dude and a chick who might jump to conclusions a lot. I like the unique art style of it. I find the whole thing very cute and like amusing. It's not like the greatest anime of the season, and it's probably going to be one that's far more niche because it is much slower, much tamer. But it's a nice, relaxing watch. And the one thing I will say is that the main girl is instantly able to understand that she just like she's instantly able to understand that she is in love with this dude. And luckily he is not completely incompetent, just prone to injury. Yeah, exactly. We'll see how that assessment fares as we go through this, but like this is just sort of like the like relaxing, like, what was the anime? Food for the Soul. This is like the Food for the Soul kind of anime for this season, where like it's a nice watch. I don't particularly look forward to it, but I see it and I'm like, oh, I should watch that. I like the last episode. It's that kind of anime. As compared to some of the other ones on here, like Boxing Queen. I need to make an AI parody of Dancing Queen now, just about Scarlet, just Boxing Queen. Someone please do that. Please go to Suno and make that. That would be so great. But Boxing Queen 7. Some shit like that. Come on. But with Yanokun's Ordinary Days, see, Jeremy finds the animation / art style a little bit pedestrian. Paid extra attention to the dialogue. I think I enjoyed it all around. I like the art style because it has its own uniqueness to it. I do feel like it touches a little bit more on like a realistic design, so maybe not everyone would like that. But I was going to be a critic of it at first too, but the more I watched it, I'm like, you know what? I enjoy this. I like the way this looks. And that brings us to my awkward senpai. The next entry on the list. So this is a romance, slice of life, workplace anime. I should have said workplace, romance, slice of life. It would have made more sense if I had said that. It is a romance / slice of life series that happens in the workplace. There. And I enjoyed this one. You have this like, I don't know. I guess I enjoy the trope of like the cold, harsh woman at work who actually has like this like soft side to her that she really wants to convey to people, and she's kind of self-conscious about it. Muffler is saying what? So I'm guessing he is into this girl. Again, we'll get to Boxing Queen because that is the next one on the list. But we got to get through My Awkward Senpai first, so you'll have to bear with it for just a little while. This is another one that kind of falls into like the cute category. I enjoy it. It's an interesting show to me. I feel like a lot of the series this time around are going to go into the interesting or okay category for the season. And it should have been My Autistic Senpai, really fun first episode. But yeah, I mean, she's a bit clumsy. She doesn't really know how to like communicate well with people. So she just like shuts everyone away and is like, you know what? If I'm not good at communicating, I'm not going to do it. But then she meets this guy who is, like has the heart of gold and everything, and like, is just really happy to learn from her and all that. So nice, like workplace rom-com sort of. It's nothing particularly special, but it is put together well enough to make me look at it and be like, oh, there's another episode of that. I might as well watch it. It'll lighten my day if I watch an episode of this because I will get something that will just, take the edge off of everything. Yeah, Kohai already going out of his way to defend her is a nice thing. It's a good touch. All right. So there are a couple of like comfort series that have come out this season. This one though, this one is not a comfort series. This one is an absolute banger. Ladies and gentlemen, I just punched my mic stand. Ladies and gentlemen, may I ask for one final thing? Peak. It is peak. And Biggles coming in with the member message for 9 months. Thank you very much, Biggles. And of course, you know what that gets you? Gets you a comment from our favorite uncle in another world. I appreciate that, man. Oh. I am still playing Digimon. We'll watch later. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, and have fun playing Digimon. Hope you're really enjoying that game. It seems like it's a well put together game. Well, duh, it's a villainess show. Biggles, you love your villainess thing. I need to go to Suno and make a Boxing Queen song just so we can have this show with its own specific intro. It is that good. It deserves its own intro. Just the I'm gonna get copyright struck so hard. There's so much good about this show, and there are 2 episodes of it that are just fantastic. And I have a couple of comments to make about some of the things that are in there that just don't really get mentioned. So first episode, we are introduced to our main character, Scarlet. Scarlet Vandemillion. Hold up. Oops. Let's do this. And now I have a screenshot of muffler tape saying the Boxing Queen can box his balls. Okay. Morgan is the sexiest voice in anime. Maybe could make a mashup of Dancing Queen and Eye of the Tiger. Oh, Eye of the Tiger actually wouldn't be bad. We'll see. I'm gonna try and make something. Because Scarlet deserves her own intro. She is the Lady of Beatings, the Mad Dog Noblewoman. I forget what the third one is, but she has a lot of monikers, and they're all great. I love this show. So, first episode, like I said, we're introduced to Scarlet Vandemillion, Our Lady of Beatings. And I watched both sub and dub for this. So, first episode, I watched sub. Second episode, I watched dub. And just a sample, and both are pretty good. I think I might just continue with the dub, though, because I do like watching some of these in my native language. Anyway. So we get Scarlet being dumped by the prince with an inferiority complex. Oh, generic sort of trope. I've seen this before. I have so seen this before. Oh shit, she just beat the shit out of the other guy, the new girl. She just clocked the shit out of the new girl. I love it. But we get the whole backstory about how she gets engaged to the second prince, and he has this huge inferiority complex, and he's a total douchebag, and how he absolutely deserves the beating that he gets. When she busts out the studded gloves, I died. There's so many good moments in this one. I love this. The animation is probably like that tier 3 animation where like it's good, but there are like notable areas in which it can improve. There are times where they do cut to freeze frames of it just to save on animation budget. That's fine. The show is not really selling those action sequences. It's selling the entire shtick of Scarlet beating the fuck out of people. The Mad Dog Baroness. And in the left corner, we have the Mad Dog Baroness, the Lady of Beatings, Scarlet Vandemilion. Sorry for the volume warning. I just got very excited about that. We're having a grand old time, a silly goose time, okay? And there was no alcohol involved in it, so just I'm having a good time. You know what? Might as well let it show. Anyway. I keep trying to recap this and going off track. May I ask one final thing? Does a good job of like setting up the backstory and everything and making it satisfying to like, delay the impact of that punch. And then after all of the flashback, you just have the best haymaker to some chick's face that I have ever seen. She just punches the shit out of the pink-haired chick. And that is where we transition into episode 2, where we get Scarlet basically beating the shit out of like every noble. And well, actually, I think that's episode 1. And then episode 2 is like the immediate aftermath of that. But episode 1, Scarlet beats the shit out of a bunch of nobles and the prince himself. And the first prince, the first prince is the audience. The first prince is the first prince is just getting absolute amusement out of everything. He finds it hilarious. Like he is getting his kicks off of this. The brother, not so much. The brother is terrified of everything that is going on. It's such a great dynamic. And of course, Scarlet is now, going after the prime minister, the ringleader of all this stuff that's been going on. So she's trying to, get all this set up. Almost gets assassinated by a femboy in a maid costume. But we do learn something interesting. Like they do a little bit of like cool world building. So they basically go about this with like everyone has a blessing from a god. But not everyone knows how to use that blessing, so most people's potential goes unrealized. And Scarlet just so happens to have the blessing of the god of time, which gives her some ridiculous abilities. Like the ability to accelerate, or to reverse time on people. Yes, she is so looking for a reason to throw hands with the first prince. And that's the thing I love is she has this like burning rivalry with the dude. And like he just loves riling her up, like winding her up and setting her loose because he thinks it's hilarious. Like the whole dynamic of this is like great. But there is one thing I do really want to mention about this, and one thing I don't think a lot of people like that completely gets forgotten about with the show. The second prince dumps Scarlet for the pink-haired girl. Like Teresa or something like that. And the only time she's mentioned is in the like those couple of scenes. And then after she gets the punch to the face, she vanishes. She's not anywhere. She's just gone. And now this is a little bit informed by the fact that I watched the outro to this show, which is really good. And I would actually I think the outro to may I ask one final thing is actually like significantly better than the intro. But the outro shows pink-haired girl. Well, yeah, so you've seen it. It shows pink-haired girl dressed up as a bunch of other like fairy tale princesses, the Little Mermaid, and Sleeping Beauty. Or no, it's not Sleeping Beauty, it's Snow White. So the Little Mermaid and Snow White are the two that I can remember off the top of my head. So I think it's pretty clear that when they're looking for a ringleader, I feel like we're getting Pink Hair Girl as the ringleader. Either way, fantastic first two episodes. This show, like I had expectations for this show, and this one it smashed them. Like it was good. I loved it. I love when that happens, when I get excited for a show and it pays off. Cinderella and Little Red Riding Hood as well. Interesting. So yeah, it's. May I ask for one final thing? Is great. Like this is straight fire. This is that GIF of the dude taking his pen to paper and it just like burns everything. Like it just ignites everything. It is straight fire. I love this show. It is great. Hmm. Okay. And that brings us to the next one. Because I can only go on about Scarlet for so long. And we'll save more of the gushing and stuff for later. Because we got to talk a little bit about what is the full title of this one. I need to look this up. My Gift Level 9999 Unlimited Gotcha. Backstabbed in a backwater dungeon. I'm out for revenge. That's the next one on the list. And to be entirely honest, this was going to be a throwaway for me. Like I saw the premise, I saw everything going on, and this was just going to be one of those shows where I was like, fuck it, I'll give it a shot, and then I'll probably, completely disregard this show for all of eternity because it looks like the almost like quintessential meh version of the I got backstabbed in a dungeon by my party, and I'm actually the strongest. Strangely enough, though, I'm interested. I kind of want to watch more. It Unlimited Gotcha presents you with completely excusable racism. That's the only way to go about it. It presents you with completely excusable racism. Because every other fantasy race in the world hates humans. So now our main character has like a perfectly valid reason to go and say, hey, fuck you, you're not a human. Like you just tried to stab me in the back. Kind of a fucked world. Like it's like a really weird inverse world where like all of the other like non-human races are like considered superior and humans are considered inferior. So that was like an interesting turn, but like main character is like a little like Shota-esque character, like dude. He's a complete wimp and everything, and like they're all like treating him nice and everything, and all they really want is to like get a hold of his supposed power. The one thing I do enjoy about this one, the animation actually isn't bad. It's better than what I expected. Um, it has a good revenge hook too. The main character has this ability to summon a bunch of ultra powerful women. I'm assuming they're all going to be ultra powerful women. But he also wants to get revenge by his own hands. So it seems like rather than using the ultra like powerful women to do his bidding, it looks like he might just be out to like learn from them and like gain some sort of skill in combat or whatever, so that he can then go and fuck up all the assholes who tried to murder him in a dungeon. Like this world's kind of fucked. Like there's some crazy stuff going on with this. But it's got a good revenge. It's got a good revenge hook. Where is Unlimited Gotcha streaming? Let's see. Go here, and this is streaming on I don't see a platform for this. It just says Mugen Gotcha and official site. Oh well. I'll just have to deal with it. Sorry, I can't answer that one for you, Jeremy. My laptop is slow as shit tonight. What are you doing? Come on, there we go. Wonder if redo of Healer without all the dick slapping and stuff. That would be an interesting turn. Worst name ever reminds me of the random light novel generator program that came out years ago. Right? So this is one where like I was genuinely like interested in the first episode. Like I like that the MC actually wants to like, like take revenge into his own hand. He doesn't just want to pawn it off onto his minions. And I'm hoping that's kind of where it goes, is like MC gets more and more powerful and is able to like outmaneuver or outplay a lot of these other people to get his revenge on them. Starting with fucking Wolverine, dude. Like, fuck that guy. And the elf. Like, fuck the Wolverine and the elf first. Like, get them. Like, beat the fucking shit out of them. Please. That's weird coming from me, an elf lover. But elf bitch needs to die. She needs to die. That's all I can really say about this with only one episode. I'm kind of like cautiously optimistic about it. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Maids aren't really my thing, but like I kind of get it. Like it's not my particular fetish, but all right. We'll see where this one goes. But that brings us to Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. That's the next one on the list. And Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider is strictly not for me. I can't do this series. This is not my style. Am I particularly interested in Kamen Rider stuff? No. Tokusatsu has never really been my thing. Like as a kid, I liked Power Rangers, but that's the closest to Tokusatsu I ever got. Or like Super Sentai. And this is like an old man action series where like you have this dude who spends all his life training. He wants to be a Kamen Rider, but they don't exist in real life. And he basically gives up on it all and ends up like just, going to work a construction job and all that because he went to a delinquent school and got in a bunch of fights and all of that. Too much shenanigans for me. It just wasn't my thing. Like you have this whole thing about how like as a kid he was super obsessed with being Kamen Rider, and then as a teen he did all of this stuff about like to like train for it and ended up getting in fights with other delinquents. He protected this chick and like did everything he could to save her, and then like she like just fucking dumps him, just runs. It ended up not really being my thing. Whether or not it was solid, perhaps, I don't feel like watching it. It's not something that I want to watch. So that is going in the not for me category. It was a probably won't watch earlier today, but right now I am feeling like I don't look forward to more of this. And I'm like it's kind of a similar situation I'm getting with Swordmaster. You know what? Maybe I'll give it another episode because I guess the idea of like going full vigilante might be interesting. But I don't know. I'm just kind of like there with it. I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm being too harsh on it, but not a huge fan of it. We'll see if it improves my opinion on it. So, moving down the line to the most ridiculous anime of the season, Sanda. So with Sanda, it is basically the story of this kid who comes from a like cursed family lineage that has this thing where they become Santa. And you have Crazy Yandere or whatever. trying to get Santa to come back so that she can use him to find her missing friend, because everyone says she is dead, but she is convinced that she is not dead, that she's still alive, and that there's something going on. Fuck. You're right.
Maru realized that no explanation would ever be enough to save him from this humiliation. The misunderstanding was as deep and dark as the gaping pit of despair that swallowed his soul.
I feel that one right now. I need the Alex Jones clip. I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of retarded. I completely forgot about the chart. So I'm putting Sanda in very good. I actually really liked this. I have my complaints about it, and I'll get to those, but I enjoyed Sanda. Like, this whole thing is just like this goofy ass creation, and that's kind of what I went into it like expecting. It's just give me something absolutely bonkers, and that's what this is. Muffler, go take it up the fucking ass like you always do, you gay motherfucker. Anyway, and so premise be the first episode, you have Sanda, who is our main character, and he is being followed around by this other girl, like Fuyusaka or something like that. She's really tall, super yandere, like totally like creepy. And he has a thing for her, and she is literally like trying to kill this motherfucker. Doing all this ridiculous shit. Like, she goes and threatens to murder him, and he's like, "Oh, she must be in love with me." And like they're like sitting down, and she's like threatening him, and he's like going like, you ruined my, like, I've had a thing for you for a while, you ruined my confession and all that. And she fucking stabs him because she's trying to get him to turn into Santa. And she's like sitting there like over his like bleeding out corpse, like, "How dare you die on me? You're supposed to help me. Without you, I can't do this." And then he becomes Santa and blows up an entire fucking room. Crimson doesn't like Swordmaster? I liked Swordmaster. From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. I liked that one. Where did you get that I didn't like that one? I mean, it is entirely possible that I said I didn't like it, and like since then I have gaslit myself into liking it. But I enjoyed that one, and I'm looking forward to season 2. All I said for that one is like, there are things that could have been better, but the dub was shit. Like, the dub was genuinely shit for that one. But I thought it was a good series. No, he means the one in the other one in the okay category. But that wouldn't make sense because he's not an old man. He's making a joke about how I enjoy naked old men. But I remember liking Country Bumpkin. I remember liking from Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. Two minutes before, you said you didn't like Swordmaster? What? Okay, first of all, you got me fucked up here. Like, what the hell? Because as far as I remember about like Swordmaster, I think it took me a couple of episodes to warm up to it. Like I was considering dropping it, but I warmed up to it after like some of like the action animation and stuff, and complained that there was a like slower episode in there. But I don't know. Like two minutes before you said you didn't like Swordmaster. Huh? I wasn't even talking about what? What is going on here? Y'all got me fucked up. Okay, you know what? Moving on. Okay. I find Sonda hilarious. You just have this like annoying ass twink who turns into Santa Claus if he puts anything the color red on. And he turns back into an annoying ass twink when he eats jelly beans. Meanwhile, you have this like crazy bitch who is willing to stab the guy and strap herself with a fucking bomb to like prove a point. This is clown world. I love it. It's totally fucking stupid, but that was what I got into it for. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a shot because this is ridiculous. The intro's okay. Like I enjoy it, but the intro isn't really my favorite. I think the main character, being the way he is a bit annoying, but like not enough to like turn me off from the series. It's kind of funny that you have that match with the whole the Santa thing. Um, and I like the art and animation for this one. It looks unique. Like the animation is pretty good. Like I said earlier, I like that like rougher style of drawing things. Yeah, this is one thing where like her is like I would have thought that she was a dude if they hadn't explicitly said that she was a girl. So her design probably could have used a little work, but I think the whole point is that she's kind of like the creepy looking outcast of the class, and there was only one person who really like, you know, wanted to be friends with her or saw her for what she was, and that's what's got her so desperate is like the one person in class who really cared about her is gone. But I'm enjoying this. This is my Christmas anime for the year. This ridiculous ass fucking bullshit. Oh, let's move on. Let's move on. Because there's a generic one that we do got to talk about, and that is the Banished Court Magician, or whatever the fuck comes after that. Where is it? The Banished Court Magician aims to become the strongest. There we go. That's what it is. Shit, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Okay. So, with this one, I would actually put the Banished Court Magician over here in the okay category. I thought this one was better than Swordmaster. Like the animation for the magic, I thought was actually good. It's like, you know, the tier 3, tier 2 kind of animation, somewhere in that range. But this one seriously lacks originality. That is its biggest flaw, and that's the whole reason it's okay. I am not going to watch it just because it does a decent job of animating some magic. Like even the villains in this are like so much like they just feel so much cornier than any rendition of this show has ever been. But effectively, our main character learns magic from a court magician, and that court magician gets banished from the imperial court, and that somehow inspires main character to go and be a magician, a court magician for the imperial court. And he ends up getting banished because he's the one who's constantly like trying to pump the brakes. Oh, is it just like a Freudian slip or some shit? Fuck. Classless hero. Yes. I keep saying sword master. Okay, that's probably where all the confusion comes from. That might that might explain some shit. There we go. Not sword master, classless hero. Get that through my fucking skull. Okay. Moving on. So because our main character we're classless is shit. Anyway, main character is trying to, do something for the kingdom, fix the imperial court, all that. Gets kicked out because people don't like what he's doing. He's a commoner, yada yada yada. Get fucked. So he goes and he meets up with his old adventuring team. Lasting period. Correct me if I heard that one wrong, but they kept saying lasting period. And I'm sorry, I don't care how long your menstrual cycle is. I don't want to talk about it. Like, that is one of the worst names for an adventuring party I have ever heard. And trust me, there are some bad ones that I have heard. But like I said, the only point of praise I have for this show is, hey, you did the magic at least decently. Like, I like the look of the magic, but that's the only thing I can praise about this show. I don't know what you see in Classless Hero. Like, it is so utterly ugh. It is a dog shit anime. It is okay at best. Anyway, this is going to be one that's probably going to be dropped by episode 2. Like, I genuinely don't have a whole lot of reason to watch this because it's like the same booted out of the party trope that I've seen a million times. And it's not even doing a good rendition of it. It is almost like copy paste kind of stuff. So unless you get something good in this next episode, you've basically just speed ran getting dropped off my list. Congratulations. Okay. Let's move on from the banished court magician because there isn't much else to say about that. It is copy paste. Inexpressive Kashiwada and expressive Ota. That's the next one on the list. And this one is the premise of this one is it is a school romance sort of show, slice of life, where you have two characters, a guy and a girl, who are classmates. And now the guy, Ota, basically wears his heart on his sleeve. And the girl, Kashiwada, she does not. She almost has zero facial expressions. And that prompts our main character in this one to go and try and mess with her constantly to try and, make her react to everything. And it leads to, just shenanigans. It's a cute little like kudere sort of like anime. Just another one of those like um comfort series. And yes, I do like her design. I think she is an adorable character. Um like it's kind of along the same lines as like Aharen-san to me, where like it's a good comfort show and I enjoy it, but there's like so many things where like the way they write some of these characters is kind of hilarious. Like who deals cards by putting their whole hand on the card and then pulling it off the deck? The person who animated that, I feel like never dealt cards or was just too lazy to try and do anything. And then, of course, you have our main character who has the hose, and everyone else has water guns at the pool cleaning session, which I liked that. I thought it was like a cute little thing that they did with like her like having fun with the group of guys like playing in the water and all that. But like he's the one who has the hose, and he's still managing not to be able to hit anyone there. Like, bro, you have the hose. You can move the thing around. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to hit someone with the hose. But those are really my only critiques of it. Like, I like the way they've done this. It's pretty. I think they're being pretty obvious with the fact that Kashiwada likes Ota because he is like always talking to her, trying to get her to react and everything. There are times where like she actually like shows a smile and everything, and like everyone else is like, wait, is she actually like happy with all of this? Meanwhile, he's frustrated because he can't seem to get a reaction out of her. It's a nice comfort show. Again, like the third one of the season, but like I like it. I enjoy it. That brings us to Ranma and a half. And Ranma and a half gets a very good. Like this is one that this whole first episode was great. I loved it. So in this, we get Ranma. This whole first episode is sort of focused on Ranma's one weakness. And in typical Ranma and a half style, it is something utterly ludicrous. We get this whole thing about the cat fist and how Ranma was traumatized by cats as a child because his father kept throwing him into a cage of hungry cats with nothing but things that cats are attracted to strapped to him. So he is now completely traumatized by cats and has an irrational fear of them because of everything that his father did. Meanwhile, everyone else is, like trying to figure out what Ranma's weakness is and how to exploit it and all that. You have our great detective L wannabe, like stalking Ranma because he's pissed off that Ranma is close to Akane. And then in the final scene, we have Ranma fully turn into a cat and just start fucking shit up. Yeah, Ranma was great. I had a few good episodes, though. I thought we could continue where we left off last season with Shampoo. I have no doubt that she will return at some point. But like the whole cat fist thing, I got like this episode gave me a lot of good laughs, and I'm kind of glad that they're doing like same day dubs for this one because while the sub is superior, I will not argue that. I enjoy watching things in dub because I like my native language. I like being able to listen to things in English. But really, the big thing is it starts off on a really strong foot. Ranma season 2 starts off on a fantastic note. I thought it was great. Just the way Ranma toys with people and all the bullshit that goes on, it's fantastic. Okay. that brings us to my friend's little sister has it in for me. And this one goes in the interesting category. And I have complicated feelings about it, but I enjoyed the first episode. So, what is the premise of this show? Our main character is the director of a game production group. He's the director of a couple of game devs. He and his best friend is the coder, and they have a writer, a voice actor, and an artist, who all work on this. But you haven't been introduced to a couple of the other people who are involved in this yet, so we'll continue on with that. Either way, the main character does not believe in the existence of tsunderes. He believes that they are a made-up concept of fiction, something where it's so ridiculous they can't exist, because if you liked someone, you wouldn't want to make them miserable and risk having them hate you. However, little does he know, the younger sister of his best friend and the new girl who's gotten introduced are both tsunderes. This is a tsundere, I guess, harem/love triangle anime. I think it's harem because he's not really interested in either of the girls. Like, he doesn't have a particular inclination, and they're both just kind of attracted to him. And they're both tsunderes. One of the things I do enjoy about this is that the main character actually shows a little bit of spine. I wish he'd show some more spine, because he lets the red-haired girl, or the brown-haired girl, get under his skin real easily. Like, he lets her push his buttons. He just needs to put his foot down a little bit harder. Yes, this is what I'm talking about when I say he should show some more spine. Like the fake confession thing, once she did that, he literally should have just walked without saying it. Just completely walk away from that situation, because that annoyed me too. I would be pretty pissed. And one of the things is, I have read the novel for this, and I will say, both of these girls, both Mashiro and what's her fucking name? Why do I fucking forget her name? Mashiro is the white hair girl, and Iroha is the brown hair girl. They're both bigger pains in the asses in the novel. So with Iroha, she's a little bit meaner and harasses him more in the novel. You get a little bit more of that. But for Mashiro, well, one, they actually talk about, if I remember correctly, they talk about her when he walks in on her in the bathroom. They mention that they mention her wearing pink underwear. So he actually saw more than what was shown in the anime. We were robbed. But she is absolutely furious at him. I think they cut out some of the stuff from the novel where she is absolutely baring her fangs at him. And she agrees to the whole thing much more easily. So I think they toned down these girls for the anime. And I don't have a problem with that, because they did kind of annoy me in the novel. But this is one I'm probably going to be yeah, I enjoy it. And then it's going to turn into a love triangle rant. I have a feeling that this one's going to turn into a love triangle rant. Either way, best girl in this series is the teacher. At least from the one novel that I've read. You'll probably see why in the next episode or two. Because that'll be a thing, yeah. But I like the teacher the most. So effectively, the whole premise of this one is that our main character is trying to get his whole dev group into this major company, so that, to secure their futures and everything. So he's the one doing all the work for all that. But the condition for that is his uncle wants him to pretend to be his cousin's girlfriend. Yeah, Mashiro is like legitimately his cousin. Like first cousin. There's so much more to the teacher. There is so much more to the teacher. She is a character. But yeah, there are some pretty good character moments in this, I think, that are from the first novel that I read. I feel like you have the opportunity to have some like really good character moments in this. But I do also get the feeling that this is absolutely going to turn into a love triangle rant from me. So just be prepared. There's probably a love triangle rant. I like it. I got a couple of good laughs out of it. I don't hate the girls. I just wish the main character would, turn around and slap Iroha for once. Like, just press the attack. Like, let her have it. Don't chicken out. Like, you keep growing a spine and then surgically removing it, dude. Come on. Anyway. My friend's little sister has it in for me. Oh, I forgot A Gatherer's Journey in Isekai. Where was A Gatherer's Journey in Isekai? I guess I should mention that. We'll move on to Gatherer's Journey in Isekai, and then we'll do Touring After the Apocalypse. Because apparently I don't have notes for a Gatherer Journey in Isekai. This is probably one of my least favorite anime of the season. I don't know where I want to put it. We'll just put it there for now, just so I don't have muffler tape bitching at me. So The Gatherer's Journey in Isekai, it feels so stereotypical. And you have like none of the designs in this series appeal to me. And like main character basically, overworks himself to death. He gets reincarnated, gets a bunch of OP power. Okay, cool. He's super tall. Sure, whatever. Designs, don't care. Storytelling, mid as fuck. You get to the dragon, looks retarded. Like, yeah, you basically just have a giant dude that looks like a dragon. It doesn't actually feel like a dragon. And they go through all of this ridiculous stuff to hatch the dragon's egg so that he can get his cute little mascot character. This show is not good. And anyone who thinks it is can fight me. Yeah, that's pretty much my big problem. Is it's another stereotypical anime, like isekai anime, where they just force feed the main character a bunch of stuff. And you're sitting there robbed of any like meaningful progression. You're like, okay, a lot just happened, but I don't care. Like, of all the anime to trigger me this season, this one right here triggers me the most. I don't mind the existence of a mascot character. I do not mind the existence of a mascot character. Sometimes they're good. But a series where the mascot character is the biggest reason to watch is fucking trash. And this one, it literally, its only thing is, oh, look at the cute little mascot character. Fuck that. It's like Grogu. Fuck Grogu. Put that little fucking psychic avocado into a blender and turn him into guacamole for all I care. Also, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. I like Yanoken. I enjoy it. But to say that may I ask for one final thing is trash? You fucking crazy boy. But we all know that your opinions, your taste in anime is garbage. So you are a raccoon. You are prowling through trash cans looking for anime to watch, man. Kidding. We're friends, man. I know. I don't care. But this show is genuinely S tier. It is fantastic. I'm feeling spicy. So yeah, I can usually find something good to say about a show, but I struggle with this one. Yeah, Gatherer's Journey in Isekai. Oh, it is the hottest of garbage from this season. It is the hottest of garbage. Uh Better run, the lady of beatings is coming for your ass. And there's no wonder why Biggles loves this one. It checks all the boxes. Woman who can kill him? Yes. Villainous? Yes. Dami mommy? Yes. It's a Biggles anime. But in this case, it happens to be a justifiably likable anime. Like this one, it's fantastic. May I ask one final thing? Absolute, like, fantastic. Okay, let's talk about touring after the apocalypse. So, like I said earlier in the stream, wow, that's insane to me. Like, he's full on just like,
Just thinking about it makes me go feral.
he is full on, okay. Huh. Well, these are going to be some interesting conversations over the season. Okay, so touring after the apocalypse. This is basically like a giant tourism ad uh for Japan, it feels like. Man, you've been catching strays from like everyone in my end of the circle, dude. You have been catching strays from everyone. Oh, you got the whole fandom riled up. Anyway, so touring after the apocalypse. It is like obviously post-apocalyptic setting in Japan. Everything's gone to ruin, overgrown. These two girls are riding around on a solar-powered motorbike. I'm just looking at all these old spots that people had, that someone, apparently one of the girls' older sister, had memories of, that like they all wanted to hit. We don't really get like the idea of what's going on or why they're doing this or like why everything fell to shit and all that. But it's a thing. But it really, all it does is go through and talk about like cool, like touristy things to do in all these different areas of Japan. That's what it's going to do. What I can tell about this anime though is it has something cool that it's messing with, but I don't believe that it's actually going to give me that thing. And here's what I'm talking about. So, there's some sort of radiological event that was disastrous to humanity and forced a lot of people into hiding to survive. And that forced them to create androids and like robotic weapons to patrol the area and make sure nothing was wrong. When the tank reawakens, you get the whole thing about like it's talking about like monitoring sieverts and everything. That's a way of measuring radiation dosage. Also, to comment on that, if auroras are showing up in Hakone, Japan, which is a further south latitude from me, and we don't get auroras here unless there's extreme solar activity, something is absolutely fucking wrong. So they're kind of implying that there's this huge like solar radiation event that basically caused this massive problem for humanity. Meanwhile, the main character is having like these psychic flashbacks, like at like every location. And in one of the shots while they're at the hot spring, you have the night sky with this like grid pattern forming of like passing lights, of like satellites and everything. So like the idea of like, okay, how did they end up in the apocalypse? Like what happens to Earth? That intrigues me. But I don't think the anime is really going to give me much of that. I am not convinced that I am going to get like the scientific part of it out of this anime. And for that reason, I can't really do it because the whole tourism thing, not a fan of it. I mean, obviously you have the little girl robot with the giant arm cannon that can pierce a tank. Like that's cool. Like there's something funny about that. And I kind of figured she would be a robot when I first saw her, but they play it off. But I don't know how many episodes of this I'm going to tolerate if they don't at least, feed me a little bit of like the post-apocalyptic stuff. Like why is the world this way in every episode? Like if we're just about to get a bunch of episodes that are all just tourism stuff, I'm going to drop it. I'm going to be honest. I don't care for the tourism stuff. I only care for the post-apocalypse stuff. That's all I have to say. And with that said, that's basically our list for the start of the season. That is everything I was able to watch. There are some more on the list that I need to check out. So next week, we will definitely be talking about Let's Play, This Monster Wants to Eat Me, A Star Brighter Than the Sun, Past the Monster Meat, and Cat's Eye. Those are ones I definitely want to hit. And there are a couple of more that we will get to. But for now, this is where we're at. So we're going to take a screenshot of this. And we will close that out. I can do that. Okay, cool. And we're going to do a little bit of wind down tonight. So before we go, I'm going to be trying to do some catch up this season on some shows that I haven't watched. And I would like to take suggestions from people here in the chat. Okay? And here is the idea that I have come up with. You guys will give me the options for a poll that will go up on the channel. And that poll will be, available to everyone in the audience. And whatever gets voted on is what I'm going to end up trying to catch up on. I would ask that you guys give me suggestions that aren't an eternity long. Something that I would reasonably be able to complete within a week. Like 12 to maybe 24 episodes, please. But for now, the big one that I'm going to do, I don't know if I want to do Grand Blue first this week. I don't know if, I'm not going to do it tonight, but you guys are going to be able to decide the options for what I'm going to be doing, catching up on next week. And we will talk about that during Animated next week. So I don't know if I want to do Grand Blue or the wrong way to do Healing Magic. I'm kind of torn right now. But either way, I think I might do wrong way to do Healing Magic. And then I'll take your guys' suggestions. So if there is an anime you feel like I need to catch up on or something I missed that is like short, seasonal or whatever, or something I just need to watch, suggest it now. It'll go in the poll and we'll see where it goes. That said, I'm going to try and get back to normal posting and maybe even start doing some more shows. Well, Marcel, I'm going to do wrong way to do Healing Magic this week. So there's no poll or anything. So next Animated, I will be talking about that. I will be opening up the show talking manga, and then I will talk about the wrong way to use healing magic. But for the upcoming, but after that, I will be announcing the winner of the poll and what I will be watching for the next week. And we're going to keep doing this for fall season. For as long as I can keep my sanity intact doing it. So if you have another suggestion, Marcel, feel free to put it in here and I will put it on the poll and then all people will be able to decide. And in fact, I want to see how many options I can actually put on here. So let's create a post. Text poll. Add another. Okay, I can get 4 options. So, what 4 series should I be putting on here? It looks like we have the suggestion of Grand Blue. So I guess that will go on here. And that leaves 3 more. Do you have a My Anime list? I do, in fact, have a My Anime list. Yes, I have watched Hell's Paradise. Okay. I believe I should be able to do this. And share the My Anime list. And there we go. Where is my mouse? There we go. Okay. So we'll hang out here for a little while I get options. Well, I get the options from you guys. There are a couple in my plan to watch list that I could slot in there. Oh, there we go. It's loaded more. Like Akiba Maid War. I haven't watched that one. And I do want to watch it. Buddy Daddies is another one. My Happy Marriage. Akiba Maid War gets a mention from me for sure. It's awesome. All right, we could put Akiba Maid War on there. I'm not opposed to that. I mean, there's Urusei Yatsura, Your Lie in April. I mean, I can just like read through a lot of the ones that I have on the list here. So, I mean, A Whisker Away is a movie, I believe. So, I won't do Ascendance of a Bookworm unless we are doing a fictionology on it. There's 3 seasons of that, right? That's just too long for me to do in a week. So, Akiba Maid Ward, Asobi Asobase, Workshop of Fun, Bartender, Glass of God, Bastard, Heavy Dark Metal Fantasy. There's Boarding School Juliet, Buddy Daddies, Carol and Tuesday. Cautious Hero is on here. I think that one got a mention. Chobits, Elfin Lade, Go Go Loser Ranger, Good Night World, Great Teacher Onizuka, Grimgar. Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions. Mission Yozakura Family, My Happy Marriage, My Home Hero, Mysterious Disappearances, Remake Our Life, Sekirei, Serial Experiment Lane, Steins Gate, Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, TP Bomb. There's a bunch of other ones in there. So, I mean, interesting. Who did I say that's okay, so let's see. What about love? Okay, I need to check the episode counts on some of these. So Buddy Daddies, that's only 12. Bartender, that's 12. So it looks like we might do Realist Hero, since there's a there's a couple of you who suggest that one. How a Realist Hero rebuilt the kingdom. Okay. Anyone else? And Asobase. I can probably manage, like, with Realist Hero. I think realistically I could do 24 episodes in a week, but once you get to like 36 or something, I think that's probably out of my range. And I will do my best to get that knocked out. And I guess Asobase. So Grand Blue, Akiba Made War, How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. I have never watched The Legendary Hero is Dead. Since you three are on here and kind of have, I don't know, I'm kind of interested in putting Asobase on there. That would be, how many is that? That's 12. I hear good things about that. I think I'm probably just going to slot Asobe. So it's Grand Blue, Akiba Made War, How a Realist Hero rebuilt the kingdom, and Asobi Asobase. I don't mind comedy. I'm only going to watch one of these this next week, and then we're going to do the poll. We're basically going to do this poll over and over and over again. And whichever one, you guys can like keep recommending a series until it gets picked if you really want to, or like just keep recommending it the whole time. But this is the poll that goes out. You guys are selecting the options basically. Ooh, you know what? I should put that on the list. So let's put that on here. Add to plan to watch. And summertime rendering. Summertime rendering. There we go. Plan to watch. Add. You know what? Maybe we should balance it out. Have, because we kind of have two that are comedy, sort of, with like Grand Blue and I Keep a Made War, which is kind of like a little bit more, grim and everything, from what I understand, but it still kind of has a ridiculous nature to it. Then we have Realist Hero, which is a much more, I think that's a more like straight laced show. So maybe we will put summertime rendering on there. And that'll be the list. And we will see how the general audience reacts to that. So come next week, prepared to talk about, how not to use healing magic. The wrong way to use healing magic. And also come ready with the anime you, the viewer of Animated, want to put on the poll. I will try to do my best. You guys now have my my anime list, so you can see what I haven't, and refuse to watch. And I'll do my best to update that with some of the other shows that I'm open to watching, so that if you guys want to, get an idea of something that I may like, I would appreciate that. And pick something from there. Or even just from the list of on hold anime, there are a couple on here that I'd probably be willing to pick back up. Did I put Spice and Wolf under dropped? Where the fuck is Spice and Wolf? Huh. I guess I never put Spice and Wolf on here. Oh no, it's there. Okay. Okay. So, with that said, we're going to call it here, and I am going to put the post live on the channel. You guys are still, allowed to vote. I can't stop you from voting, but it's going to be amid a bunch of other people on the channel. So, that said, thank you everyone who was here tonight, and all of you who joined in. Even those of you who seem to like Classless Hero. I will try to get to posting again this week, but I like I said, being thrown into the work schedule on the deep end. I was on roofs and on decks in the sun. It was hot this week. It is October and we are getting 90 degrees. So that's the thing. And it took a toll on me. I was exhausted, couldn't really get much mental energy outside of working on a couple of scripts, kind of putting together a video. I mostly have a Yaiba video done. I just need to finish some editing on it, and I did the intro for tonight's stream. But hopefully this upcoming week, I'll have more energy. It won't be so bad. And I'll be able to come home and work on some more videos and get back to my regular posting schedule. Do some more reviews, try and wrap up some of the summer stuff that I didn't get to talk about. And maybe even do some shorts and stuff for reviews. Because I don't know if all of these really need full-length videos. Maybe I will start releasing some more shorts on the channel. That said, again, thank you very much to you, the viewer, who makes this entire thing possible. Because it's only really worth it if, you guys show up. I'd probably still do it anyway and talk about this stuff. But I appreciate that everyone is here to, chat live and have some fun. So, with that, because it is brand new, we are playing out with a new intro. Have a great weekend. I will see you all on Monday in a Yaiba video, as well as on the Biggles Breakdown, most likely, unless he decides to cancel it. Have a good night.
Blazing screens, chaos unfolds, crimson law, tales retold, anime wars, blades collide, justice screams.